guys, welcome back. Today we're going to walk through what I'm calling my bathroom, kitchen, dining room, living room portion of the build. It's kind of a work in progress, and I'm going to be doing more videos with this build. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, and if you have, thanks for coming back. This isn't going to be really a step-by-step tutorial on how to build cabinets, but I am going to show you most of what I did as well as some tools that I found helpful. Marianne, if you're watching, I'm including more of Sky in this video. I am listening to your feedback. This part of the build's really centered around two items, my toilet and refrigerator. I wanted to put a pull-out refrigerator in the doorway of the van so that I could access it from outside and load groceries in. And then also, it's pretty easy to just reach down and grab something out that you want. I had to make my counters wide enough to accommodate this refrigerator. I ended up making the cabinet 21 inches deep by 41 inches and then 35.5 inches before the countertop. For kitchen counters, it's really nice to have a toe kick, and that's the area that your feet kind of go under when you're standing at the counter. I made the base for my kitchen cabinet out of 2x4s, and then I built the frame for the cabinet out of 1x3 cedar planks and used 1/2-inch sanded plywood for all the sides and faces. And then I ended up leaving space for this drawer as well as a cabinet under the sink. Probably the tool I used the most was the pocket jig. Basically, it helps join ends of wood and makes them stronger while also hiding the screws. So it gives the cabinets a really good clean look on the outside. After building my kitchen cabinet, I went on to build another cabinet to hide the toilet. I made it the same height as the kitchen counter, but I made it a little bit deeper to accommodate the toilet. So this is 24 and a half with the face. And then I have the Nature's Head composting toilet on a 250-pound drawer slide. I'm going to have another video that goes a little more in depth on installing this toilet in the van, as well as my review on it. So keep an eye out for that video. To attach both these cabinets to the van walls, I use plus nuts. A lot of van builders love plus nuts. Basically, you can drill a hole into the sheet metal of the van, and then the nut will expand into a plus symbol and grab onto the sheet metal. And then it'll give you a really strong threaded hole to send a bolt into. Once I knew how big my toilet cabinet would be, I was able to design my bench seat. My bench seat is 41 inches wide at the back, but I tapered one corner of it so I could make the driver's seat swivel around. It took me a while to come up with a good height. I wanted it to be tall enough to have a couple deep drawers underneath, but not so tall that it was uncomfortable to sit at. I settled on 16.5 inches tall and then 22.5 inches deep. Alright, let's talk drawers. I decided on this van I wanted to make my drawer cutouts compatible with the Ikea Maximera drawers. The Ikea drawers are pretty inexpensive and they come with really good hardware. They're also really quick to put together. One thing you should know if you decide to use these drawers is that they're a little bit smaller than what they say. So if they say it's a 18-inch wide drawer, it's actually, I think, 16.5 inches wide. I used the screws that came with them to attach the drawer slide to the cabinet. If you use a drill bit that's just a little bit smaller than the screw, it'll work well. So the drawers didn't come with drawer faces. I wanted to build my own, and I wanted them to kind of match the lines in the van. So I used a router to cut lines into the faces that would kind of match the paneling that I'm eventually going to have on my walls in the van. For handles, I use these slam latch handles. They're great because they keep the drawer locked in and front, so that way they don't come out when you're going around corners. I ended up needing to inset the handles a little bit because they're made for 1/2-inch drawer faces and mine were 3/4. So I used a hole saw and router. And then I had one cabinet door I needed to make, and I used some hinges that I got in the as-is section at Ikea. I traced out the cuts I needed and then used another router bit to cut out holes for the hinges to fit in my other cabinet door. I also have this little locking mechanism that keeps the cabinet door from opening accidentally while I drive. For the countertops, I used butcher block from the Ikea as-is section. I wanted the kitchen countertop to have a cutout for my induction cooktop as well as my sink. And what most people do is they drill a hole through each corner of the cuts that you need, and they use a jigsaw to cut from hole to hole. The reason I don't like that method is because a jigsaw's blade can kind of go one side or the other and you don't get a 90-degree cut. So I ended up using my skill saw again and cut each line, and then did the final little cuts on each corner with the jigsaw. The last addition to this whole section was the Laguna table, and I wanted it somewhere where I could access it from basically all the seats in my van, so from this bench seat, from the driver's seat, and from the passenger seat. I made my tabletop out of the butcher block that I had left over. What I ended up doing was cutting a lot of it away and sanding it down, and that just kind of warped it. So I'm going to eventually have to make a new tabletop here. None of the butcher block has been sealed or finished yet. That's like a multi-day project that I will eventually get around to. Now that I have this nice kitchen, it's time to hook up some water to it. So that'll be one of my next videos, as well as the video on the Nature's Head composting toilet. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so that you know when those come out. And the rest of you, thanks for coming back. We'll see you guys soon.